This is the Music History Today podcast for November the 24th. On today's show, Freddie Mercury passes away, as does Eric Carr of Kiss, and the Beatles get to work on the greatest album ever made. First up, though, on this date in 1944, 25-year-old Liberace performed in Las Vegas for the first time. It was at the Last Frontier Hotel for $750 per week. Due to his popularity that week, the hotel started paying him $1,500 per week starting in week 2. And then soon, he, Siegfried and Roy, and Wayne Newton would become synonymous with Las Vegas entertainment, setting the template for doing Las Vegas residencies for the Rat Pack, Elvis, etc., etc. In 1950, the musical Guys and Dolls premiered at the 46th Street Theater on Broadway. It won 7 Tony Awards, including Best Musical, ran for 1,200 performances, and became a movie starring Marlon Brando and Frank Sinatra. In 1956, the TV special Frank Sinatra, A Man and His Music premiered on NBC television. In 1966, the Beatles started recording the album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, considered by some to be the greatest album ever made. In 1972, producer Don Kirshner's first TV series, In Concert, premiered on ABC television. In 1976, the Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Jesse Coulter, and Tompel Glaser album Wanted the Outlaws became the first country album to officially become certified platinum. The album, which was made to capitalize on the outlaw country movement, was popular on both the country and pop charts. In 1985, singer Big Joe Turner passed away at the age of 74. In 1991, drummer Eric Carr of Kiss passed away from cancer at the age of 41. And also on that same exact day, Freddie Mercury of Queen passed away from AIDS-related illness at the age of 45. We discuss the life and death of Freddie Mercury on this week's Music History In-Depth podcast, which has already dropped on this network. In 1993, blues great Albert Collins passed away from cancer at the age of 61. In 1996, Crowded House played their final concert in Sydney, Australia before breaking up. They reunited for a time in 2007. In 2001, singer Melanie Thornton, who was the lead singer of the 90s Eurodance group La Bouche, who had classics like Sweet Dreams and Be My Lover, was among those killed when Crossair Flight 3597 crashed in Switzerland. Melanie Thornton was 34 years old at the time. In 2016, entertainer extraordinaire Miss Florence Henderson, of course, known as not only a singer, but also as the actress who played Mrs. Brady on the TV show The Brady Bunch. She passed away at the age of 82. In award ceremonies that were held on November the 24th, in 1994, the first MTV European Music Awards were held. Oasis was the big winner in that ceremony. In 2013, Justin Timberlake and Taylor Swift were among the big winners at the American Music Awards. And speaking of Taylor Swift, in 2019, she was named Artist of the Year and the 2010s, for that matter, at the American Music Awards. Albums that were released on November the 24th include in 1967 when Kaleidoscope released Tangerine Dream. In 1969, Tim Buckley released Blue Afternoon. In 1971, the Kinks released Muswell Hillbillies. In 1972, Hawkwind released Do Re Mi Fa Sol Latido. In 1978, Mike Oldfield released Incantations and Rod Stewart released Blondes Have More Fun. In 1986, Eric Clapton released August. In 1987, Keith Sweat released Make It Last Forever. In 1992, Leonard Cohen released The Future and the Spin Doctors released Homebelly Groove. In 1997, All Saints released their self-titled album, and Yes released Open Your Eyes. In 1998, Pearl Jam released Live on Two Legs, Metallica released Garage Incorporated, and Queen released The Crown Jewels. In 2014, Joni Mitchell released Love Has Many Faces, a quartet of ballet waiting to be danced. Also on that same exact day, Eminem released Shady 15. Singles that were released on November the 24th include in 1967 when the Beatles did a twofer. They released Hello Goodbye and I Am the Walrus. In 1972, John Lennon and the Plastic Ono Band released Happy Christmas, War is Over, but in the UK on that date. And also on that same day in America, David Bowie released the Jean Genie. In 1973, Kool and the Gang released Jungle Boogie. Before we continue, we'd like to tell you that we've started Season 2 of the Music History In-Depth podcast, where we go more in-depth on some of the events that we mention on this particular podcast. The Music History In-Depth podcast drops every Tuesday on this podcast network. Now, back to the Music History Today podcast. Artists who were born on November the 24th include the father of ragtime, Mr. Scott Joplin, Tony Rombola of Godsmack, Pete Best of the Beatles, Dawn Robinson of En Vogue, John Squire of the Stone Roses, Chris Hayes of Huey Lewis and the News, Elvis Ramone of the Ramones, singer Lee Michaels, musician Richard T., Robin Williamson of the Incredible String Band, musician, comedian, and actor Billy Connolly, Duck Dunn of Booker T and the MGs, country music singer Johnny Carver, Jim Yester of The Association, Tommy Alsop of the Crickets, saxophonist Al Cohen, singer Eileen Barton, pianist Teddy Wilson, Chad Taylor of Live, Tony Clarkin of Magnum, Bob Burns of Leonard Skinner, and Clem Burke of Blondie. Artists who unfortunately passed away on November the 24th, other than the ones mentioned earlier, include organist Johann Reichen, pianist Vaclav Stepan, organist George Russell, conductor Guido Cantelli, jazz pianist Hal Overton, opera singer Irmgard Seefried, organist Xavier de Rossi, pianist Henriette Puig Roger, songwriter Wang Jim, singer Juice Leskinen, the opera singer who was Sidney Poitier's singing voice for the movie Porgy and Bess, Mr. Robert McFerrin Sr., Kenny McLean of Platinum Blonde, music producer Chris Stamp, Mitch Margot of The Tokens, Bob Breyer of My Chemical Romance, and singer and actress Helen Gallagher. Next on the Music History Today podcast, it is November the 25th, when in 1984, the charity group Band-Aid recorded the song, Do They Know It's Christmas?